No, not at all. The attitudes have changed over the last decade, and I find people are a lot more open now to embracing these concepts. And we've had mindfulness being brought into mainstream. We've had the concepts of green gym, social prescribing. Things are moving in this direction, and I work with people from social services, from the NHS, from education departments, from the national park, and people are really much more open to these concepts now. And we have the science and research to back up our arguments. The thing for me is that the science and research is really just the superficial. It's just the top layer of what we're doing. And actually, for me, the focus and the benefits of this work is at a spiritual level. As I'm sure many gardeners will know, being out in the garden is just so calming and relaxing. When I'm in a garden, it just puts me in touch with this feeling of awe that a lot of the research talks about.
And what does it actually involve, and is it suitable for everyone?
Yes, so a typical Shinrin Yoku walk would take place over maybe 2 hours, but you would hardly walk any distance at all. So you're walking very slowly, and by walking slowly, we begin to relax, we begin to calm down our physiology, and we begin to notice so much more that's there in nature. And in that experience of noticing what's in nature, we recalibrate our senses. We tune into the subtle, tiny aspects of nature, and that has a very powerful effect on our mental state and also on our physiology. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is really to do with a lot of the essential oils that are given off by plants naturally. All plants give off these volatile organic oils as part of their defense mechanisms. So when we breathe in these oils, they actually enhance our immune systems, which I find to be a complete miracle.
And are there any that aren't good for that? Has it been investigated if there are any plants, because as you say, they're a defense mechanism, they are there to ward off larger predators? Is there anything that you shouldn't be touching or smelling?
There hasn't been enough research done in this country looking at the flora of this country in that respect. And personally, I'm very attracted to poisonous plants. They seem to have a certain allure to them, and I love studying them. But obviously, we can go and be close to one of those plants and experience them without needing to touch them or pick their leaves, etc., which I definitely wouldn't advise. But certainly being in proximity to plants like aconite, for example, comes to mind. Such beautiful plants. So I would definitely say that Shinrin Yoku walks were suitable for anybody. And in certain areas of woodland, people who were, for example, in wheelchairs would be able to get out and still perform the same exercises that we do to help people to retune their senses to the natural environment. I've just been running a course this weekend, just finished yesterday, and one of the participants on the course was blind, and he participated fully in all of the exercises.
Brilliant. That's probably quite a nice link into the kind of courses that you offer at your centre. What could people come along and do if they were interested?
So there's a 2-day training course, which is a basic training course. And from my side of things, it's quite intense, although participants say it's incredibly relaxed. But the syllabus gives people an introduction to all the principles and practices of Shinrin Yoku. It's very experiential. So the first couple of hours, I talk about the science and research, but then we move more into philosophy, psychology, poetry, and then we move off into the woods, and then it's purely experiential. So we present a series of exercises that help to retune each of the senses. Because we're such a visually dominant society, our minds tend to rely on what we see, and what we see and what we perceive isn't necessarily the whole picture. So some of the exercises ask us to close our eyes and focus on the other senses, like hearing, like smell, like touch. And so we can begin to build up more of a kinesthetic or a synesthesia of aspects of the woodland or forest that we're in. We get more of a sense of the forest with our eyes closed than we do just by looking.
And is it just forests, or is it something that you could do in a more cultivated space?
Yes, a lot of the research, both in America, Finland, and in Japan, has looked at the use of all green spaces. So parks and gardens are described as being perfect locations for Shinrin Yoku walks because they stimulate all of the senses.
As a plant nut, I'm wondering whether if you were to build a garden for that purpose or to take on a piece of land, would it be better to use native plants, or, is it okay to have a mixture of garden plants and some wilder areas? I just wondered if any research had been done into that, really.
It's a really interesting question, Sarah. As far as I know, nothing has been done in relation to that. It would be a lovely project to do, actually, because you can incorporate a lot of the tactile or haptic qualities of plants. I'm thinking particularly of the lovely soft leaves of lady's mantle. So imagine exploring those with your eyes closed and then combining that with some of the scents of the plants and trees that we know have got intense healing properties. So in Japan, the research focused on what they call the 5 sacred trees of Japan, mostly hinoki and sugi, which are cedars or cypresses. There's no reason why, for example, we couldn't incorporate some of those trees into garden plantings so that we would get the scents and the benefits from those trees as well, mixed in with our own native plants.
Yeah, it would certainly be interesting to look into, as you say. So I guess you don't have to do it in a particularly structured way. You can just do it off your own volition. If you wanted people to get a taste of what it was all about and how they might benefit, if you could just say to people, do one thing, what would you recommend that they did?
Okay, so here's one of the exercises that we do on the course that I particularly like. Find somewhere to sit in a garden or green space and close your eyes and just focus on listening, and start from quite close in around your head. Imagine a set of concentric rings expanding out from your head out into infinity, and just listen to what's up close to you, and then let your hearing expand outwards so you begin to hear more and more different sounds as you allow your hearing to extend out as far as you can. How far away can you hear? And you begin to build up a sound map of everything that's around you. And once you've gone as far out as you can, bring your hearing all the way back in again until it's just a couple of inches away from your head. Or maybe you can hear what's going on inside you. Then do the same thing again. Allow your hearing to expand outwards, but this time hear everything all at once as a symphony of sounds. We may get natural sounds, we may get man-made sounds, but it all mixes in together to create this wonderful 360-degree symphony, this sound bath.
I can see why you say it's a kind of synesthesia type experience, because it's experience in the world, not just in a kind of flat way. It's about building that multi-dimensional picture up inside your head and allowing yourself to do that. It sounds incredible. If people did want to find out more, as I say, your website's a fantastic resource. where could they go? If you could just tell us the name of your website, and then if there's anything else or anywhere else people can go and explore more, that would be great.
Yes, certainly. The website is called Nature and Therapy UK, and you can find us there. And there are resources on the website with links to books and the science articles. There's a lovely book that's been written by a man called Dr. King Lee. That's King spelt with a Q, Q-I-N-G, Dr. King Lee, L-I. And he's written a book on Shinrin Yoku, which gives a basic introduction to it. And there's also some interesting articles that have been created by Yorkshire Tea, of all people.
Okay.
They've got articles which you can access through the Guardian newspaper website. So I think about once every month they put up a new article about the health benefits of being in nature.
Wow. Unexpected.
So that's a starter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Presumably you have to sit down with your cup of Yorkshire tea at the same time, but brilliant.
Yes. I think they're indicating that they are, as a company, they're committed to planting more trees.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. Hat off to them. Brilliant.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to Stefan as well for his time. There's lots more information about him in the show notes, but if you did want to check out his website, it's natureandtherapy.co.uk. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next Tuesday. You can download or listen to the podcast direct from the website www.rootsandall.co.uk, where you'll also find my blog and a sign-up form for the newsletter, which gives you a weekly roundup of content, plus the inside scoop on things like upcoming guests. Or you can subscribe wherever you normally get your podcasts. Email me with comments and feedback at podcast@rootsandall.co.uk. Follow me on Twitter, Roots and All, Facebook, Roots and All UK, and Instagram, Roots and All Pod. But please also check out my Patreon, where you can make a one-off donation or take out a monthly subscription to help support my work, because if you like what I do, please help me to continue doing it. Even if you make a one-off donation of £1, trust me, it all helps, and I will be immensely grateful. So please go to Patreon and search for Roots and All.